I found myself reorganizing the basement for the third time that morning, trying to prove something to a woman who'd already stopped looking. My hands shook as I folded the same shirt twice. The house echoed with silence. They'd been gone since Friday, and now Sunday afternoon was creeping in like a deadline. Sarah and our son Tyler would be back from her mother's place in 2 hours, maybe less. I'd spent the entire weekend cleaning, cooking, documenting every single task on my phone, like some kind of desperate insurance policy. The kitchen gleamed. I'd scrubbed grout with a toothbrush at 2 a.m. because sleep felt like giving up. 3 meals prepped in labeled containers, laundry folded and put away, the yard mowed in perfect diagonal lines. But none of it would matter. It never did anymore. I checked my list again. 17 completed tasks. Was that enough? Should I clean the garage too? My therapist's voice echoed in my head from our last session. You can't earn love through chores, Marcus. That's not how marriage works. Easy for her to say. She wasn't sleeping in a basement, treated like a stranger in her own home. My phone buzzed. Sarah's name lit up the screen, and my stomach dropped. Did you remember to water my herb garden? The herb garden. The one thing I'd forgotten. Of course. On it now, I typed back, already racing up the basement stairs. I grabbed the watering can, filled it, rushed outside. The basil looked wilted. How had I missed this? I'd made a list. I'd checked it 5 times. The water splashed over the leaves, probably too much, but panic made my hands clumsy. Another text. We're leaving early. Be there in 45 minutes. 45 minutes? I wasn't ready. I'd never be ready. I changed my shirt, the 4th one today, and positioned myself in the living room. Sitting seemed too casual. Standing felt aggressive. I settled for organizing the magazines on the coffee table, just to have something to do with my hands. The sound of tires on gravel sent my heart into my throat. Car doors slammed. Tyler's voice carried through the walls, excited about something. Then Sarah's, lower tone, probably talking to her mother on speaker. Always her mother. The front door opened. "Daddy!" Tyler launched himself at me, and for one perfect second, everything felt normal. I caught him, held him tight, breathed in his little boy smell of sunshine and graham crackers. "Hey, buddy, did you have fun at Grandma's? We went to the zoo and I saw elephants, and Grandma bought me ice cream twice." "Tyler, go wash your hands." Sarah's voice cut through his excitement like a knife. She didn't look at me, just set her purse down, pulled off her sunglasses, and scanned the living room with those sharp eyes that used to look at me with warmth. Tyler scampered off. "How was the drive?" I tried. "Fine." She walked past me into the kitchen. I followed, hating how much I felt like a dog hoping for scraps of attention. Her gaze swept over the counters, the stove, the sink, looking for flaws. She opened the fridge, closed it, checked the pantry. "You forgot the herb garden," she said flatly. "I got it, as soon as you texted. The basil's overwatered now. You can see it from here." My jaw tightened. I was trying to fix my mistake. "Trying?" She repeated the word like it tasted bitter. "That's all you ever do, Marcus. Try. Never actually succeeding, just trying." 6 months of this. 6 months since I'd moved back home after she'd kicked me out. 6 months of walking on eggshells, working 3 jobs, sleeping in the basement, watching my wife transform into someone who looked at me with contempt instead of love. "I cleaned the entire house," I said quietly, "meal prepped for the week, finished the projects you left on the list. All of them." "You're supposed to do those things. You live here." She pulled out her phone, not even looking at me. "That's not special, Marcus. That's basic." Something cracked inside my chest. A hairline fracture that had been spreading for months suddenly split wide open. "What do you want from me?" She looked up then, really looked at me, and I saw nothing. No anger, no love, no hate, just nothing. "I want you to be someone I can rely on, someone who doesn't make stupid decisions that cost us everything, someone who—" Her phone rang. She glanced at the screen. "It's my mother. I need to take this." She walked away, leaving me standing in the kitchen I'd scrubbed until my knuckles bled, surrounded by the evidence of my desperate attempts to matter. Tyler called from upstairs, asking for help with something. I climbed the steps on autopilot, feeling like a ghost in my own life. When had I become this person? When had my marriage turned into a prison sentence with no end date? I helped Tyler with his tablet, listened to him chatter about the zoo, and pretended everything was fine. He didn't need to know his parents' marriage was held together by nothing but my stubborn refusal to give up and her cold determination to punish me forever. Later that evening, after Tyler was in bed, I found Sarah in the living room with her laptop. "Can we talk? I'm working on something. Sarah, please." She sighed, closed the laptop with deliberate slowness. "What?" I sat down across from her, keeping distance between us like she preferred. "I don't know how to fix this. I've done everything you asked. Therapy, 3 jobs, staying out of your way. I'm trying to be better, but nothing changes. You still hate me." "I don't hate you. You treat me like I'm invisible, or worse, like I'm something disgusting you have to tolerate." Me to say, Marcus, that I'm over it? That I forgive you for losing your job right when I was pregnant? For not listening when I warned you about that workplace? For putting us in a financial hole we're still climbing out of? I made a mistake. One mistake. Her laugh was sharp and humorless. One mistake that proved everything my mother said about you was right. That you're impulsive, that you don't think about your family first. That can't be trusted with big decisions. There it was, her mother's voice coming out of Sarah's mouth. It always did lately. Your mother never liked me. My mother knows what a good man looks like. My father never would have. I'm not your father. My voice came out harder than intended. I'm not perfect like him. I'm just a guy who screwed up and has been killing himself for half a year trying to make it right. And I'm starting to think nothing I do will ever be enough for you. She stood up. Maybe it won't be. Maybe that's the problem. You want credit for doing the bare minimum while I'm holding everything together. You want me to pat you on the head for finally acting like an adult? I want my wife back. Well, I want a husband I can respect. The words hit like a physical blow. I stood there, watching her gather her laptop and walk toward the stairs. At the bottom step, she paused. "My mother's coming to stay with us next weekend. She wants to help with Tyler." "Help with Tyler, or help you figure out if you should leave me?" Sarah turned, and for the first time in months, I saw something other than contempt in her eyes. Something that looked almost like pity. Maybe both. She went upstairs, leaving me alone with the truth I'd been avoiding. This wasn't a marriage anymore. It was a slow-motion ending, and I was the only one still pretending we could save it. I walked to the basement door, my door now, and descended into the converted space that had become my world. A bed, a small TV, my clothes in plastic bins. This was what I'd been reduced to. A tenant in my own home. A father who only mattered during designated Tyler time. A husband in name only. My phone buzzed. A text from my brother Jake. "How'd the weekend go?" I stared at the message. How did I even begin to answer that? I started typing 3 different responses and deleted them all. Finally settled on, same as always. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. You can't keep living like this, man. I turned off my phone and lay back on the bed, staring at the basement ceiling. Jake was right. I couldn't keep living like this. But what was the alternative? Tyler needed his father. And somewhere under all that anger and disappointment, Sarah was still in there. The woman I'd fallen in love with. The woman who used to laugh at my jokes and fall asleep on my shoulder. She had to be. Sleep came in fragments that night, full of anxiety dreams where I was cleaning the same room over and over while Sarah stood in the doorway shaking her head. Monday morning arrived with the alarm at 5:30. First job started at 7. I'd gotten used to the routine. Shower in the basement bathroom, dress quietly, slip out before anyone woke up. I worked construction until 3, then drove for a rideshare service until 7, then did remote customer service calls until 11. 16-hour days, 6 days a week. The money was finally adding up. We were almost out of the hole I'd created. Almost. I left coffee made for Sarah, along with a note reminding her I'd be home late, but would make dinner if she texted what she wanted. Professional. Polite. The way you'd treat a roommate. The construction site was brutal that day. Heat climbing into the 90s, and we were doing heavy framing. My foreman, Rick, noticed me zoning out around lunchtime. "You good, Marcus?" "Yeah, just tired." "You're always tired lately." He cracked open an energy drink. "Look, I know it's not my business, but you're running yourself into the ground. Whatever you're dealing with at home, it's handled." Handled like it's fixed, or handled like you're just surviving? I didn't answer. Didn't know how. Rick shook his head. "My ex-wife used to do that thing where nothing was ever good enough. I could move mountains, and she'd complain about the dirt. Eventually, I realized I was destroying myself for someone who'd already checked out." "Sarah hasn't checked out." "If you say so." He stood up, dusted off his jeans. "But man, life's too short to spend it apologizing for existing." His words rattled around in my head the rest of the day. Through the afternoon rideshare pickups, where I smiled and made small talk with strangers while feeling hollow inside. Through the evening customer service calls, where I helped people with problems I could actually solve, unlike my own life. I got home at 11:15. The house was dark except for the light Sarah always left on in the kitchen. There was a plate covered in plastic wrap, leftover chicken and vegetables. She'd made dinner without me, again. A note sat beside it in her precise handwriting. "Tyler has soccer practice Tuesday at 4:30. Don't forget." Not, "Hope you had a good day." Not, "Thanks for working so hard." Just a reminder that I'd better not screw up the soccer schedule. I ate the cold chicken standing at the counter, too tired to even heat it up. My phone buzzed. A notification from our bank app. Sarah had transferred money from checking to savings. Good. We were building the emergency fund back up. Another notification. She'd also sent $200 to her mother, with the note, "For Tyler's birthday party planning." Tyler's birthday was 4 months away. I closed the app before I could spiral. It was her money too. She earned it. She could spend it however she wanted, even if her mother had enough money to fund Tyler's birthday party 100 times over. Even if it felt like every dollar we saved, Sarah found a way to route back to her family. The basement was cold. I'd stopped asking Sarah to adjust the thermostat. It was her house, really. She paid the mortgage now. I just lived here on her charity. Sleep came hard, and when it did, I dreamed of drowning. Tuesday morning, same routine. Except when I went upstairs to make coffee, Sarah was already in the kitchen. She usually avoided me in the mornings. "We need to talk," she said. My stomach dropped. Those 4 words. Never anything good. "Okay, my mother's coming Thursday instead of this weekend. She wants to stay through next week." That's a long visit. She's concerned about Tyler, about the environment he's growing up in. The environment? We haven't fought in front of him once since I moved back. Sarah poured her coffee with careful precision. She thinks he can sense the tension, that it's not healthy for him to see his mother shouldering everything while his father what? Works 3 jobs to fix his mistake? While his father sleeps in the basement like a stranger. You put me there, Sarah. You put yourself there when you made the choice that destroyed our stability. We stood in the kitchen as the sun came up, saying the same things we'd said 100 times before. I was drowning in repetition. Same arguments, same resentments, same dead-end circular conversations that went nowhere. "I have to get to work," I finally said. "Tyler's soccer practice. 4:30 on Tuesday. I remember. I'll be there." I grabbed my lunch from the fridge and left before she could say anything else, before I could say something I'd regret, before the hairline crack in my chest split any wider. The construction site, the rideshare driving, the customer service calls, they all blurred together. But at 4:20, I was parked outside Tyler's school, waiting for practice to end. Other parents clustered together, chatting and laughing. I used to be part of that group. Back when Sarah would come to practices too, and we'd stand together, a united front. Now I stood alone. Tyler ran over when the coach released them, sweaty and grinning. "Dad, did you see my goal?" "I saw it, buddy. You're getting really good." "Mom says Grandma's coming to visit. Can we make those cookies she likes?" "Sure, we can do that." "Will you help? You make them better than Mom." Something warm flickered in my chest. One person in this house still wanted me around. We drove home together, Tyler chattering about school and soccer, and a girl named Emma who could kick the ball really far. Normal dad stuff. The stuff that reminded me why I hadn't given up yet. Sarah's car was in the driveway when we got home. So was another car, a Mercedes sedan I recognized. Her mother was already here. I felt Tyler tense beside me. He loved his grandmother, but even at 7, he could sense when grown-ups were about to make things complicated. "It'll be okay," I told him, not sure if I was lying. We walked inside together. Voices came from the living room, Sarah's and her mother's, that particular tone that meant they were talking about serious things. The conversation stopped abruptly when they heard us. "Tyler, come give Grandma a hug." Patricia stood up, arms outstretched. She was elegant as always, perfectly styled hair, expensive clothes that whispered money and judgment in equal measure. Tyler hugged her, and she held him tight, shooting me a look over his shoulder that could freeze oceans. "Marcus, you're home early." Tyler had soccer practice. I told Sarah I'd take him. "How responsible." The words dripped with sarcasm, so subtle Tyler wouldn't catch it, but I felt every drop. "Sarah tells me you're working multiple jobs now." Three jobs? My goodness. "When do you sleep?" "I manage." "I'm sure you do." She turned her attention back to Tyler, dismissing me completely. "Why don't you go get cleaned up, sweetheart? We're having a special dinner tonight." Tyler bounded upstairs, oblivious. The second he was gone, Patricia's smile vanished. "We need to discuss some things," she said. "Adult things." I looked at Sarah, hoping for backup, for some sign that she'd stand with me. She avoided my eyes. Mom flew in early because I called her yesterday. We had a long conversation about the situation. The situation? Patricia settled back onto the couch like she owned it. Maybe in her mind, she did. She'd certainly made it clear over the years that she thought Sarah had married beneath her. "The situation where my daughter is exhausting herself holding this family together while you play catch-up with your responsibilities." "I'm not playing." "Let me finish." Her voice was steel wrapped in silk. "Sarah has been very generous giving you this opportunity to prove yourself. But it's been 6 months, Marcus. 6 months. And you're still sleeping in the basement, still walking on eggshells, still not the partner she needs." "I'm working on what? You lost a job against explicit advice, forced your pregnant wife to become the sole provider, and now you think doing chores and working long hours makes up for showing such poor judgment?" My hands clenched into fists at my sides. "I made a mistake. I know that. I'm doing everything I can to fix it." "Some mistakes can't be fixed. Some mistakes reveal character." Patricia leaned forward. "My late husband, Sarah's father, would never have put his family in that position. He was a man who thought before acting, who put his wife and children first, always." "I'm not your husband." "No, you're certainly not." "Mom," Sarah's voice was quiet. "That is it? Because from where I'm sitting, you're wasting your life waiting for him to become someone he's not. You deserve better. Tyler deserves better." The words I'd been holding back for months clawed their way up my throat. "You've been waiting for me to fail since day one. You never thought I was good enough for Sarah, and the second I proved you right, you made damn sure she'd never forgive me for it." Patricia's eyes glittered with something like triumph. "I don't have to make Sarah see anything. Your actions speak loudly enough." "Marcus." Sarah stood up, her voice strained. "No." I looked at my wife, really looked at her. "Is this what you want? Your mother here telling me I'm worthless? Telling you to leave? Because if it is, just say it. Stop making me jump through hoops. Stop pretending there's a finish line I can reach if I just work hard enough. The silence stretched like taffy. I don't know what I want, Sarah finally said, her voice breaking. I don't know if I can get past it. The fear, the anger. Every time I look at you, I remember how scared I was, pregnant and alone, because I know what I did. The words exploded out. I know, Sarah. I live with it every single day, but I'm here, I'm trying. And if that's not enough, if nothing will ever be enough, then tell me now so I can stop destroying myself. Tyler's voice drifted down from upstairs, singing something off-key. Innocent, unaware that his family was splintering apart in the room below. Patricia stood. I think you should consider staying somewhere else while I'm visiting. A hotel, perhaps. Give Sarah some space to think clearly without your constant presence muddying the waters. This is my home. Is it? She raised an eyebrow. Because it seems to me you're just a guest here, one who's overstayed his welcome. I looked at Sarah, waiting for her to argue, to tell her mother she was out of line, to show even the smallest sign that she wanted me here. She said nothing. I need air. I turned and walked out the front door before I said something that would end this marriage right here, right now, before Tyler heard his father lose control, before I gave Patricia exactly what she wanted. I sat in my truck in the driveway, hands shaking on the steering wheel. My phone buzzed. Jake again. Seriously? Call me. Mom's worried about you. I called him. He picked up on the first ring. Marcus? Her mother's here. My voice sounded hollow. She wants me to leave, stay in a hotel. Jake swore. And Sarah? Sarah said nothing. She just stood there. Man, you need to get out of there. Not to a hotel. Actually out. This isn't a marriage anymore. Tyler needs a father who's not being emotionally destroyed. Come stay with me and Melissa for a while. Clear your head. Figure out what you actually want instead of just surviving. I want my family. No, you want the family you used to have. But that's gone, Marcus. You're living in a graveyard, pretending the dead will resurrect if you just pray hard enough. His words stung because they were true. I'd been so focused on fixing things, on earning forgiveness, that I hadn't stopped to ask if this marriage was worth saving, if Sarah even wanted to save it, if I was fighting alone in a battle that was already lost. The front door opened. Sarah stepped out, arms wrapped around herself. I have to go, I told Jake. Don't let them break you. I hung up. Sarah walked to the truck, opened the passenger door, slid in beside me. We sat in silence for a long moment. I'm sorry, she finally said. My mother shouldn't have said those things. But you agree with her. I don't know what I think anymore. Her voice was tired, so tired. You hurt me, Marcus, and I don't know how to stop hurting. I've been hurting too. For 6 months I've been hurting, working myself to death, sleeping in a basement, being treated like I don't matter. When does my pain count? She looked at me then, and I saw tears in her eyes. I can't be who you need me to be right now. I can't just forgive and move on. Maybe that makes me a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you human. I took a shaky breath. But it makes me human too. And I can't keep living like this, being punished forever. Having your mother tell me I'm worthless while you stand silent. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe Jake's right. Maybe I should stay somewhere else for a few days. Give us both space to figure out if there's anything left worth fighting for. Panic flashed across her face. You're leaving? You asked me to, through your mother, but the message was clear. I didn't ask. You didn't argue. You didn't defend me. You haven't defended me in months, Sarah. You've let your mother poison every conversation, and I've taken it because I thought I deserved it. But I don't. I made a mistake. One mistake, and I've paid for it in blood. I opened the truck door, stepped out. Sarah scrambled out her side. Where will you go? Jake's. I'll still see Tyler. I'll still keep working. But I won't stay in that basement pretending I'm part of this family when clearly I'm not. Marcus, I love you. The words felt like glass in my throat. I've loved you through all of this, but love isn't enough when respect is gone. And you don't respect me anymore. Maybe you never will again. I walked past her into the house. Patricia was in the kitchen with Tyler, making him a snack. They both looked up when I entered. "Daddy, are you staying for dinner?" Tyler asked, hopefully. "Not tonight, buddy. But how about you and I go to the arcade this weekend? Just us guys." His face lit up. "Really? Can we get pizza after?" "Absolutely." I went to the basement, packed a bag with clothes and essentials. My hands moved on autopilot while my mind spun. Was I doing the right thing? Or was I giving up just when I should fight harder? Sarah appeared in the doorway as I zipped the bag closed. "Please don't go. Give me a reason to stay that isn't about Tyler or guilt or your mother's opinion." She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "I can't," she whispered. "I know." I walked past her, up the stairs, said goodbye to Tyler with a hug that lasted too long. Patricia watched with satisfaction barely concealed on her face. She'd won. She'd finally driven the wedge deep enough to crock us apart. In my truck, I sat for a moment before starting the engine. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. "I need time to think." I texted back, "So do I." Jake's house was 40 minutes away. I drove in silence, no music, just the sound of tires on pavement and my own ragged breathing. At a stoplight, I caught my reflection in the rearview mirror. I looked like a stranger. Hollow eyes, tight jaw, the face of a man who'd lost himself somewhere along the way. My phone rang. Sarah again. I let it go to voicemail. Then rang again. Voicemail. A third time. I turned it off completely. Jake was waiting on his porch when I pulled up. He must have texted Melissa because she was there too, both of them wearing identical expressions of concern and relief. "You did the right thing," Jake said, grabbing my bag. "Doesn't feel right." It never does at first. Melissa hugged me, and I almost broke down right there. When was the last time someone had hugged me with genuine affection? When was the last time I'd felt human instead of like a problem to be solved? They set me up in their guest room, brought me food I couldn't eat, and gave me space when I needed it. I lay on the unfamiliar bed and stared at the ceiling, wondering how my life had come to this. Wondering if tomorrow I'd wake up and find the strength to actually fight back instead of just surviving. My phone, when I finally turned it back on, showed 12 missed calls and 17 texts, most from Sarah. A few from Patricia, surprisingly. One from Tyler that made my chest ache. "Why did you leave, Daddy?" I called Tyler back immediately. Sarah answered his phone. "He's asleep," she said. "You left him confused and scared." I left him seeing his father stand up for himself. Maybe that's a lesson he needs to learn too. You're being selfish. I'm being human. There's a difference. When are you coming home? When home feels like home again. When I'm treated like a partner instead of a burden. When your mother isn't dictating our marriage. She's trying to help. She's trying to end us, and you're letting her. Silence. Then, quietly, "Maybe we're already ended." The line went dead. I lay there in the dark of Jake's guest room, feeling like I was falling through space with nothing to grab onto. My marriage was over. Maybe it had been over for months, and I'd just been too stubborn or too scared to see it. But beneath the grief, something else stirred. Something that felt almost like relief. I didn't have to prove myself anymore. Didn't have to track every chore or walk on eggshells or accept Patricia's venom with a smile. Didn't have to make myself smaller and smaller, trying to fit into the space Sarah's resentment left for me. I could just be, even if being meant being broken for a while. Sleep came eventually, and with it, dreams that weren't about drowning. Dreams about breathing, about standing up, about finding solid ground again, even if I had to build it myself. The next morning, Jake drove me to the construction site so I could pick up my paycheck. Rick saw me getting out of an unfamiliar car and raised an eyebrow. "Finally left, huh?" "How'd you know?" "You look different, little less dead in the eyes." "I don't feel different." "Give it time." He clapped my shoulder. "You staying with family?" "My brother." "Good. You need people who remember who you were before all this, before you became whatever she tried to turn you into." The words hit deep. Who had I been before? Before Sarah's disappointment and Patricia's contempt and the endless cycle of apologizing for existing, I'd almost forgotten. I worked that day with something close to focus, not happiness, but not the desperate anxiety either. Just presence, being in my body instead of floating somewhere above it, watching myself go through motions. Around lunch, my phone buzzed, an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Marcus? A woman's voice. Familiar, but out of context. Yes? It's Rebecca, from your old job. My old job. The one I'd lost. The mistake that started everything unraveling. Rebecca, hi. I heard through the grapevine that you've been having a rough time. I wanted to reach out, see if you'd be interested in coming back. My heart stopped. Coming back? That whole situation was mishandled. The new management realizes that now. They're cleaning house and they want good people. You were good people, Marcus. The kind we shouldn't have lost. I don't know what to say. Say you'll come in for a conversation. No promises either way, but let's talk. You deserve better than whatever you're doing now to stay afloat. After the call ended, I sat in my truck and just breathed. A lifeline, an actual, real lifeline that didn't involve destroying myself across 3 jobs. But taking it meant something else. It meant accepting that I'd been right to take that job in the first place, that Sarah had been wrong, that the mistake wasn't the job itself, but her inability to trust my judgment. It meant rewriting the entire narrative of our collapse. I called Jake. They want me back, my old job, better position actually. That's amazing. You taking it? I don't know. If I take it, Sarah will see it as proof that I was right all along, that she was wrong. And if there's any chance of fixing things... Marcus, stop. Stop making decisions based on Sarah's reactions. What do you want? What did I want? I wanted to stop drowning. I wanted to feel like myself again. I wanted to work one job that respected me instead of 3 that ground me down. I wanted my son to see his father as strong, not as a broken thing his mother tolerated. I want the job, I said. Then take it. I scheduled the interview for Friday, didn't tell Sarah, didn't tell anyone except Jake. It felt like building something secret and precious, something that was just mine. Thursday evening, I drove to Jake's house after my rideshare shift and found Sarah's car in his driveway. She was sitting on the porch with Melissa, both of them drinking tea like this was a friendly visit instead of an ambush. We need to talk, Sarah said when she saw me. Inside, Melissa suggested, ever the peacemaker. In Jake's living room, we sat across from each other like opposing lawyers. Sarah looked tired. Good. She should be tired. I'd been tired for 6 months. My mother left this morning, she started. I'm sure that was your idea and not hers. A flash of irritation crossed her face. She came to help. She came to make sure you left me. Did it work? I don't want to leave you, Marcus. She stopped, searching for words. I want us to be okay again, but I don't know how. Do you want me to come home? Yes. To the basement? She hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. I want you to earn your way back upstairs. Show me you can be consistent, that this isn't just temporary effort. How long? Another 6 months? A year? 5 years? What's the magic number where I've suffered enough? Don't make this about suffering. That's exactly what it's about. I stood up, unable to sit still anymore. You want me to suffer, to pay. And your mother made sure you'd never let me off the hook, because that would mean admitting you were wrong about something. Wrong about what? About me, about the job, about everything. The job that you lost, that you took against my advice? Here it was, the moment of truth. I got a call yesterday from my old company. They want me back. Better position, better pay. They admitted they mishandled the situation. Which means I was right, Sarah. I was right to take that job. Her face went pale. You're going back? I'm considering it. After everything, after we've been barely surviving, you're going to make another impulsive decision? The only impulsive thing I did was marry someone who'd never forgive me for being human. The words hung in the air like smoke. Sarah's eyes filled with tears, but I felt nothing. The part of me that would have immediately apologized, that would have backtracked and soothed, was dead. "If you take that job, we're done," she said quietly. "Then I guess we're done." She stood up, grabbed her purse. "You're choosing pride over our family." "I'm choosing myself over being destroyed. There's a difference." She left without another word. I heard her car start, the sound of tires on gravel, then silence. Jake appeared from wherever he'd been hiding. "You okay?" "No, but I will be." Friday's interview went better than I could have imagined. The position was a step up from what I'd had before, with a salary that would let me drop all 3 current jobs and still have breathing room. They wanted me to start in 2 weeks. I accepted on the spot. That weekend, I took Tyler to the arcade as promised. Sarah dropped him off at Jake's without coming inside. Tyler was quiet at first, confused by the changes he couldn't quite understand. "Are you and Mom getting divorced?" he asked over pizza. "I don't know, buddy. Maybe. But you know what won't change?" "What?" "How much I love you. No matter what happens with me and Mom, I'm always your dad. Always." He seemed to accept that, the way kids do, and we spent the rest of the day playing games and eating too much junk food. Normal dad-son stuff. The stuff that mattered more than any marriage. Sunday night, I got a text from Sarah. "My lawyer will contact you tomorrow." So that was it. She'd made the choice for both of us. Part of me felt relief. Part of me felt grief. Mostly, I just felt tired. Jake's lawyer friend helped me start the process. I found a small apartment near Tyler's school, furnished the basics, started planning a life that was just mine, where I didn't have to apologize for taking up space. The new job started, and I remembered what it felt like to be good at something, to be respected, to have colleagues who valued my input instead of just tolerating my presence. 2 months passed in a blur of legal paperwork and custody negotiations. Sarah fought for primary custody, citing my unstable period of working 3 jobs. My lawyer countered with evidence of her emotional withdrawal and her mother's interference. Got ugly. Uglier than I ever wanted. But through it all, I kept showing up for Tyler. Every scheduled visit, plus extras when Sarah needed help. I proved consistent in the way that actually mattered, as a father, not as a performing seal hoping for approval. The day the divorce was finalized, I sat in my apartment and felt nothing. No triumph, no grief. Just the quiet acknowledgement that a chapter had ended. Tyler adjusted. Kids are resilient in ways adults forget how to be. He had 2 homes now, 2 bedrooms, 2 sets of toys. He complained sometimes about the back and forth, but mostly he just wanted to know that both his parents loved him. Sarah and I learned to co-parent with professional courtesy. No more warmth, but no more contempt either. Just logistics and schedules and putting Tyler first. Patricia, I heard through the grapevine, was thrilled with the divorce. Probably already planning to introduce Sarah to some nice lawyer or doctor she deemed more suitable. Good luck to whoever that poor soul was. 6 months post-divorce, I ran into Rick from the construction site at a coffee shop. He barely recognized me. "You look alive again," he said. "I feel alive again." Good woman will do that, or getting rid of a bad one. I thought about that later, alone in my apartment. Sarah wasn't a bad woman. She was hurt, scared, and unable to move past it. We'd broken each other in ways that couldn't be unbroken. Sometimes that's just how it goes. My phone buzzed. A text from Tyler. "Can we go to the zoo next weekend? Grandma took me once, but you make it more fun." I smiled. Not everything was broken. Some things were actually better now that I'd stopped trying to fix the unfixable. Absolutely, buddy. It's a date. Life wasn't perfect. I had lonely nights and moments of wondering what if, but I also had peace. The kind of peace that comes from not being constantly evaluated and found wanting, from being enough just as I was. I'd stopped drowning, and some days I even remembered how to swim. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. When a marriage hits rock bottom, is it better to keep fighting for something that might be too broken to fix? or to walk away and build a new life.